Hello, my dear friends and family. I just would like to give you a love letter, starting with this. You are awesome, and my life would never have been this rich and beautiful and blessed without you. So this is my love letter to you. At this moment in time, a poem comes to me, and it is a real kid poem. It goes like this. I live my life in growing orbits, spreading out over things of the world. Perhaps I shall never achieve the last, but that will be my attempt. I am circling around an ancient tower. I am circling around God, and I have been circling for 1,000 years, and I still don't know if I am a falcon, a storm, or a great song. Right now, I'm in a position to view my life from this outer ring, this outer orbit of my life. And all of the stages, all of the stations of my life from childhood all the way to this moment in time are like the growing orbits. And I am here right now in this one, looking at my life. And then also going back in and looking at my life from the center, from childhood, through college, all the way through work and marriage and travel and everything else coming out to this place. Some of you may know portions of my life, but I'd like to fill you in just a little bit on the chronology, where in time I was in these different orbits, in these different ripplings, in these different concentric circles. In 1943, I was born in Philadelphia and lived in New Jersey. And in 1949, my father moved the family to South Carolina, and I spent my entire years in elementary school through high school in South Carolina. This was the segregated South, and I was the child of Yankee parents, so I was the one always pitching for integration and that sort of thing. In 1960 through 64, coming to the next circle, I went to college. I was in Tennessee. I went to Peabody, Vanderbilt. I studied music. And after graduation, I went into the next circle, the next orbit, and that orbit was moving away to New Jersey to work, and finally moving to DC. And DC at that time was very invested. There was the Vietnam War, there was the assassination of Martin Luther King. It was very turbulent times in the 60s. And at the end of that, I come to the next orbit. I decide in 1969, I wake up one morning and I say, my goodness, you know, I have been tracked all my life in music, which I love, of course, but I'm really a Renaissance person at heart, and I want to make a journey. I'll make a red thread journey, and I will leave my cello behind with my mother, and I will begin a journey across the country, and I will do everything but the cello. So I leave my cello with my mother, I get in my little Volkswagen, and I set out across the country to the place that is calling me Big Sur. Big Sur is calling me, California. I make my way across the country. So here we go into the next circle. I arrive in California. Now, mind you, this is after an amazing journey of stopping here and there and studying everything I'd wanted to study in Boston. I even got to Woodstock. I'll tell you that story later. And I wasn't even a hippie at the time. I get to California. I join up with a band. Victoria Ryan, the lady, takes our band all the way up to Vancouver. Beautiful British Columbia. Oh my God. And I so fall in love with British Columbia, I move there. And I am there until I meet my husband, and we get married, and my husband and I go to Sedona, then to Santa Fe, and our daughter is born she was born in Vancouver, near Vancouver. She comes with us, and we go and have our life in Santa Fe until we get a marriage, and it's finally run its course. We get into the divorce part of that process. And then I raise my daughter until she goes to college, and I decide in 2001 that I am going to need to go into liminal. I am going to need to step out and just not be a mother, an ex-wife, a teacher, and nothing. I want to go to a place where nobody knows me. And I decide at that point I'm going to Bali. And I go to Bali. And I was reborn. Nobody knew me. And I got to just drop into everything that was inside of me, that was chilling out finally from all of those roles that I had functioned in all those years. And I got to just be in a beautiful paradise. When I returned to the States, I came to Eugene for a year and finally made my way to Oakland. In Oakland, I lived in Oakland for 18 years. And at the end of the 18 years, I had a chapter in there that just inserted itself. And it was called multiple myeloma. It was called cancer. And I hadn't planned on this because at that point I was ready to start a retreat center. And just at the same time, Spirit said, I'm so sorry, we have a little chapter to do here. It's called multiple myeloma. You got to go here and do this one. And so I had to do that one from 2018 till now. And so it is, I come to the now. And I come to this outer band. And for the last 2 years, I've had the grace and the pleasure of living out of the Bay Area in a beautiful, bucolic place in Northern California, in Humboldt, where I could just sit in a chair and contemplate nature and listen to the ocean only a half a mile away and be in the redwoods and get very, very silent and get very, very quiet. That is the chronology I overlay on this poem. And so it is. As I come to this point, I want to share with you something that seeing life through all of these orbits and being at this one now, being in this outer orbit, I realized that what I saw as a child was what I saw as a child. And certain of those scripts I carried forward. And what I saw as a teenager, and what I saw in California, what I saw as a global traveler, I carried scripts forward. What I saw as a mother, as a divorcee, what I saw in each one of those, I was carrying those scripts forward. And I realized that they were real at the time. They were real at the time. That's what I saw. That's where I was in time, in the context of that orbit. But I'm here now, in this orbit. And it's very different. I'm seeing it very differently, and I'm enjoying, and I'm finding so much pleasure in going in and looking at it in time, and then pulling back and seeing it in so many different ways. I'm seeing it chronologically. I'm seeing it, how it polished my soul. I'm seeing it, how the challenges were met and how they were not met. I'm seeing it in so many different ways now, and that's what I want to share with you. I also want to share with you the fact that you play such an important role in this for me, that throughout all of these changes, you, my family, held me through this, through all the times when I didn't know the answer. I was almost out on the street. I'm lying there and I can't move in my bed. I've given up my house. I've divested myself of everything. You held me. You were the ones who held my tuning. You held my tuning. And each time we were together, every time I was with you, I could come back to that place inside of me where I could see clearly. And you held me through all the changes and loved me and supported me and reminded me. And so I treasure you. You are the treasures of my life. That is my love letter that I want to share with you. And I thank you. You know, when Jeremy Marais and I got together, Jeremy is the incredible soul traveler on this journey, this musical journey and life journey. We met up several years ago. I found in him such a twin and someone to go into this playground of all possibility with. And in this journey, we were so aligned and it was such a symbiotic relationship that we were trying to come up with a name for our ensemble. The name we came up with was Murmurations Duo. Some of you know what that word means. I didn't know what it meant for a very long time, but it seems to be the exact word to describe what this is all about. A murmuration is how the birds fly together. They all fly together as one unit, and they have a simultaneous impulse, and wherever one goes, they all go together. And that's how our music was together, how we went into this playground of all possibility together. And that concept of flying together, we ride on the drafts of each other. We are uplifted because of each other. And we have all agreed that we are one unit, one mind. And so it is. And so murmurations would apply to all of you in my life, that we are one tribe, one murmuration, and we are flying together. And when one falls out, we take care of that one. And then we take turns flying point. Sometimes we don't feel like we can always be the one at the front, and somebody else takes that role. And we're supported by the others. And so not all of us are strong through everything that we have to go through. And that's why we have each other. And that's the beauty of flying as a murmuration together. And so it is throughout my life. You have served for me as a fellow bird, as a sister bird in this murmuration that we have come together into. You are my tribe, you are my murmuration.